Welcome to Border Crossings. I'm Larry London. Today, I'm joined by a British rock band called Amber Run. Joe Keogh, Tom Sperring, and Will Jones met in school at the University of Nottingham. And 7 years later, they are celebrating the release of their newest EP, The Assembly. Amber Run started off as Amber, but faced legal issues with a German band of the same name. In the years since 2012, they've released 2 studio albums and 5 EPs, with plans to release their 3rd album later this year. Join us for the music of Amber Run coming up on today's Border Crossings. Hi, I'm Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. In our studios from the UK, we have an artist who is a part of a band known as Amber Run. We'd like to welcome to DC Joe Keogh. Did I say that correct?
You did, yeah.
Well, we welcome you to DC and to the Voice of America. And so Amber Run, you performed under yourself when you first started doing music, I guess.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I mean, that was a long time ago now, maybe 15 to kind of 17 years old. But I went to school with Tom, our bassist, and he played bass in that band as well. And then we went to university in Nottingham in the Midlands of the UK, and we came together and decided we'd much rather, be a part of something bigger together rather than kind of like pointing out singular individuals.
Well, today you're a single individual.
Yeah, I know.
Today you're here alone.
So
they left you. They abandoned you.
Oh, well, it's not often you get to come to Washington, D.C., and it's not very often that you get to come into all the States, so they wanted to go see some things.
Oh,
and
this wasn't as interesting.
Oh, no, this is certainly interesting. You're here. You're the best thing to see.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate that. So the group started off as Amber.
Yeah.
And then apparently you had to add Amber Run.
Yeah.
To make it legal. I guess there was somebody else with Amber. So how did you come up with Amber Run? What's the significance of that name?
I won't lie to you. There's not much significance in it for me, and we get asked this kind of question quite a lot, and I always feel like it's kind of a cop-out.
Make something up.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I should, but I think like the actual story of how Amber Run got like decided on is actually kind of better, because what's in a name? Arctic Monkeys. What does that mean? It's the music that they put out and how you feel about them that makes the name good. But yeah, our manager at the time, because we were having like this legal issues with this lady. I can't remember much about it. It was a while ago, and our manager came to us and he's like, I've got this list of things you could add to make it. And he was like, how about this, guys? Imagine it. Amber 5. There's 3 of us. So
how about Amber 3?
Yeah, exactly. Amber Go. And we're like, man, there's a reason you're not in a band, okay? Let's leave this out.
That's great. That's a great story. Well, we're happy you're here in our studios. We're going to talk more about the new EP and the tour and how everything's going. But first, if you wouldn't mind saying hi to the audience with some music, we'd love to hear something.
That would be my absolute pleasure. This is a song called I Found for our first record. It's a song that, I hope you enjoy. And I'll use you as a warning sign that if you're talking off sense, then you'll lose your mind. And I'll use you as a focal point, so I don't lose sight of what I want. And I've moved further than I thought I could, but I missed you more than I thought I would. And I'll use you as a warning sign that if you're talking off sense, then you'll lose your mind. Well, no, and I found love where it wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, would talk some sense to me. Oh, and I found love where it wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, would talk some sense to me. And I'll use you as a makeshift gauge of how much to give and how much to take. And I'll use you as a warning sign that if you talk enough sense, then you'll lose your mind. Well, no, and I found love where it wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, would talk some sense to me. Oh, and I found love where it wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, would talk some sense to me. Wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, would talk some sense to me. Oh, and I found love where it wasn't supposed to be, right in front of me, talk some sense to me.
Nice. I like that. You like your voice, like the sound.
Thank
That's
you.
great. I imagine it's very different with the whole band.
It is,
We're very, very low key, acoustic, just kind of you and.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting when you write and perform songs that they can look and sound however you decide to make them sound. You can get caught in trying to make it sound like the record. You can get caught in trying to make it perfect or massive the whole time. But I think there's something quite nice about just coming in and playing a guitar, and it's how it was written in a bedroom,
Sure.
So,
and that's how you started, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure you didn't have the band when you made your first song.
Yeah, ever. But I would say it's the same in any band, in any creative performance. It starts with just a thought in the head, and it builds into one person deciding what they want to be doing, and then the collaborative element starts to kind of seep in.
Now, when you talk about deciding what you want to do, you weren't studying music when you were in college.
No.
So you were studying law?
No, so Tom,
humanities, law. I mean, there was a mixture.
Tom was studying law.
Uh-huh.
And he's a phenomenally clever bloke. If I've absolutely no doubt the guys in the band that I play in, if they weren't making music, they'd be an absolute success at absolutely anything they chose to do. But we're just lucky and driven that we want to be doing this because we think that we have something to say and something, important things to say, and that's why we make music. But I was studying American history and history. So again, and it's just another reason why it's an absolute pleasure to be here and to be in the home of politics. And it's just we weren't doing music. No, that much is true.
And the tour's been selling out everywhere, and you've been on the road with James Bay and Codaline.
That's
I read.
true.
So,
yeah. That was a while ago now, hey, and James and Codaline are doing unbelievably well, and it's a pleasure to see friends do well. I feel often when it comes to music, people see it as a bit of a competition, especially when you're in it, like in anything, like in any job, you see other people start
business.
doing well. Yeah, exactly. But I think we've been doing this long enough now, and also derive enjoyment in other factors other than just sell out shows, which we do get, that it's just great to see really talented musicians and really good people doing really, really well. So it was a pleasure to tour with them now. It was a pleasure to tour with them then, and it's a pleasure to see them do well now.
And I read where the very beginnings of your career, you were kind of thrust into everything. Your fourth show together as a band, you played Reading and Leeds.
Yeah.
Was that the fourth concert? Here you are at a major festival, one of the big international festivals.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. You know, some people get really, really lucky. And obviously there'd been a lot of work for a lot of years, but we'd released one song, and there was a radio DJ in Nottingham where we were studying who heard that song, put it on the radio, and was like, and from then it just kind of went a bit crazy. Yeah, and some people get lucky. You just got to ride the wave when it happens. Now,
I got to ask you a question. Why is it, and I've often wondered this, people from England sing with an American accent? You're not singing with the British accent. It all of a sudden becomes Americanized.
Am I singing an American accent?
Yes. Well,
am I really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe you hear what you want to hear. maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really
you
thought
talk
about
and
it.
sing very differently.
That's true. I'm trying to convey different things when you're singing, I guess. Oh, maybe I'm some part American.
You're
maybe
subconscious.
It's the TV
there.
shows,
That's it. You've
maybe
been brainwashed.
Yeah, exactly.
How long have you been in the States? Do you have a house here? Is this a frequent stop? I mean, the U.S. for you is this?
It's not so much frequent stop. My partner has family in California. I came to a wedding here recently in Florida.
Okay.
We'll come over for these shows. It's a really interesting place to visit, and obviously because I did my degree in a part of my degree in American history, it's just an interesting part of the world for me, and I quite like coming and being a part of what is a really diverse and interesting social and cultural spot.
And I was just reading that this year the British recording industry had an uptick in sales, 7% increase in record sales.
Yeah.
Because there were some big records from the UK this year, with Dua Lipa and Ed Sheeran and Harry Styles. There's a number of British artists that did very well this year.
Well, I mean, the music scene, I can't comment on the industry in like 7% and stuff, because I try and stick quite far away from the industry stuff, because it's one of the ways that you lose your head a little bit, and there are some lovely people in the music industry, but there are some
right, sure,
some snakes,
not some nice, yeah, exactly.
So but what I do know when it comes to music and making music, I think the UK is always going to do unbelievably well at it. We have a beautiful heritage of unbelievable artists, and there's a grittiness and a rawness to what English acts do, and it's just a pleasure to be able to sit under that banner, So,
who were you listening to, and who are you listening to?
Who am I listening to?
Yeah, who was inspiring you growing up, and how about now? Who do you like?
Well, I mean, I grew up. My mum and dad had me listening to a lot of Sonic Youth. Had me listening to Muse. My parents were like quite left field indie-ish kind of
cool people, huh?
Yeah,
cool
trench
parents,
coats,
Muse,
and leather shoes. They're so they had me listen to that kind of stuff. But now, if I was to speak about what I listen to myself in terms of English bands, radio,
anything, what are you listening to?
There's a band called The National here from in the States that I think are phenomenal. There's a new record out by a lady called Phoebe Bridgers, which is just astounding as well. I listen to that on repeat. A bloke called Leif Vollebeck from Canada. He's got a record called Twin Solitude that I think's just astounding. And then obviously all the things you hear in the radio are obviously really good. Obviously Dua Lipa's doing amazing things.
Sure.
And I really like that new James Bay record as well. I think he's done some really interesting things. I like that he's pushed it a little bit further than people thought he might.
Well, we had him on before. He's been here before.
Yeah.
So we're happy to have Joshua of Amber Run in our studios. And the new EP is The Assembly.
Yeah.
And you've had a number of EPs, 2 albums, but a number of EPs. And I think you're promising a new album in the middle of 2019. Is that what the plan is?
We are. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Don't hold me to it, but I think
what is going to be on the new album?
So we've just released a single for our fans in the States called Carousel. I say that I'm not going to be able to play it today because the rest of the guys aren't here. But
You have to come back and play it with
Yeah, exactly.
back with the guys.
Invite me back, man.
Yes.
So and then yeah, there's some really beautiful songs on the record, and we're really excited to release it. You know, the second record was really difficult to write and to perform, and it was very angry. Whereas I feel like we've moved past that kind of now, and there's an innocence to what we're doing again. And I'm just personally enjoying writing, performing music, coming and meeting people and playing shows again. There was a period where it just wasn't any fun, and I think nothing to do with anyone else. That was just to do with what was going on at that point. So I'm just really excited to be able to be in a position to release this next record next year, and then hopefully come back and keep seeing the beautiful people of America and you know, it's such a vast country.
Is there a difference between performing here and performing back in the UK?
More people know us. I wouldn't say so. You know, people are people, and if they enjoy the music, then they all kind of look the same.
I always get intrigued when I talk to an artist who's done world tour stuff, and they say, well, different countries have very different audience responses and behaviors.
Yeah, I think that comes into it, but the only thing that you can control is what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, obviously, sometimes it's a lot easier to get like a rowdy crowd in Nottingham to kind of lose themselves and like start jumping around. But the reality is as well, this is the first time that we've met and been introduced to a lot of the places in the States, so we can't expect them to be like losing, like literally like going, how do I explain it?
Is this your first tour in America?
It's our first time.
Wow.
Yeah. You know.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's taken a long time, but you know, when the shows are selling out and you get to come and do, you know, and speak to people in these kind of mediums, you realize you're doing something right. And so it feels, I feel vindicated.
Yeah.
I feel proven right over 5 years of hard work, you know.
And when you started 5 years ago, you guys were with a major label early on in your career. Are you still with a major label?
We're not with a major label anymore,
Okay.
no.
So how has that changed the dynamic of what you do? Or has it?
In my opinion, for the better.
Okay.
But we can go into the juicy stories if you want. But you know, there were some moments that were unsavory, and there were some decisions made that weren't in the best interest of the band. And I understand that, you know, business is business, and
Right.
people have invested money, and you know, I'm not ignorant to that.
Right.
And
You lose control. You know,
Yeah.
you have to hand the control over to major label to
Absolutely.
their producers and their people.
And sometimes they're great. Sometimes you have great people, and there are tons of really smart, intuitive people doing great stuff at these labels. And sometimes there aren't.
Right,
And
right.
I'm not saying that we had that opportunity. I'm sure that we kind of didn't do as much as we could have done on that major record label to make it work for the long term. But you know, for us now to be able to take back some control and to be able to release the music that we really want to be making, and to be able to decide where we tour, to be able to decide how we release music to everyone, and then also just to be able to, you know, it's a lot easier living in terms of like financially, just not that we make a ton of money, because we don't, but you know, yeah, it's boring. People don't want to know. But basically, it's I really enjoy it.
Well, this is how people get to know you. I mean, you know, they hear from you. Otherwise, they see you perform, but they don't have that opportunity to have the conversation that we're having now with Josh Keogh from Amber Run. The Assembly is the name of the new EP. Would you do another song for us?
Well, this is a song off the Assembly, and it is a song that I wrote when my grandfather passed away. So if you were having a good day, I hope you still have a good day after this one. It's quite sad.
Get the tissues out? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe. But I was really... we were on tour at the time when he passed away, and I was given a poem to read at his funeral. And, you know, it's all a blur, and I don't remember the poem at all. And I remember like trying to say this poem and it not resonating with me at all, and not being how I felt at all, but just I didn't have time to do anything. And I felt that was ultimately the most disrespectful thing I could have done for a man that I loved, not having been able to engage with it properly. And so I went away and wrote the eulogy that, you know, I could have given, and it was a song called Amen that's off the Assembly, and it does go like this. the sky, or are they man-made? A trick of the light, amen. 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 And is there a God up there? So where does he hide? 'Cause the devil is raging inside my mind. And is there a moment when it all makes sense? When saying goodbye doesn't feel like the end? Amen. Amen. Sometimes I can't help blaming you for leaving me here. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, there's plenty of women, there's drinking, there's drugs, but we both know that won't be enough. 'Cause I see you in the daytime and I hear you at night. There's a pain limitation, what burns in my eyes. I don't wanna be here, don't know what to do. Sometimes I'd rather be dead, at least then I'm with you. Amen. 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 Amen.
Very beautiful. Hard for you to sing?
Yeah, horrible actually, but there
Yeah.
we go.
Well, you did a beautiful job, beautiful voice. I'm sure your grandfather's smiling down on you right now.
I hope so.
And how about the family? Are they all into music? You have brothers, sisters, everybody like music in the house? Anybody else performing?
I'm the eldest of three. Two young brothers, both of them play. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they're finishing off university at the moment. You know, one of them doing philosophy and the other one doing maths and astrophysics. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm kind of the dark horse because I think they're really smart. You know,
Well, when you talk about philosophy, I want to ask, what's the best advice you ever got, and who gave it to you?
the best advice I've
The
ever
best
got.
advice. Something that you could bestow, some pearl of wisdom you could share with our audience that might want to become the next Josh Keogh.
Okay. Wow, what a massive question.
We got time.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure, but, you know, and if I was to be really basic about this, I think less what people have said and more I've seen examples in my everyday life of people being kind. And I think that is the most inspirational thing that I've ever seen and that I would take on board, because there's so much difficulty that everyone has in so many places. And, you know, even with a song like Amen that I just sang, you know, grief's going to touch everyone at some point. And beyond things that you know are going to happen, there's going to be really difficult stuff that just turns up in general. So if you have the opportunity to, you know, impact someone else's life and your own life by being kind, thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
and no one's, I don't think, ever said that directly, but I've just seen so many examples in my life that I'm really grateful for. So I would say something a bit like that.
Mm. So back home, what do people think about what's going on here in the United States? We're kind of in the midst of all kinds of turmoil, you know, and so people on the outside looking at us, what's just those crazy Americans? Well, what do people back in England think?
That's such a brutally dangerous question.
Yes, it is. Without getting specific, in a general sense, because we've been probably more in the news lately for different reasons than ever before.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
mean, there are some interesting things going on here in America, but I also think there's some really interesting things going on around the world.
yes, of course.
You know, I am not plugged into the nuance and the kind of tensions truly here in the States, because obviously I don't live
Right.
here. I don't see.
And you have
every
your own
days.
share back home, too.
Exactly. You know, stuff like Brexit that's
Yes,
going on
exactly,
in the UK
yes.
is really going to impact not only, you know, personally my day-to-day life, but my career,
Right.
in terms of being able to tour and to be able to move around. And, you know, as part of the 90% of youth that voted to stay, I feel betrayed. But also there's another 50% that wanted to go. So democracy says that we go with that. And I don't think that's a perfect system, but it's the system that we have in place. And I think there are some very similar situations that we find here, you know. I don't agree with all the policies that have been banded around here in the States, and I also don't believe in all the policies that get banded around in the UK. There are different chains of thoughts everywhere,
Right.
and you know, I can have my opinion and we can have a discussion, but my opinion isn't you know, law isn't that important. All I can do is act and go out, vote for people that I think represent me to the best of my ability. And I think that is what people can and should do here.
Right. You're a very refreshing outlook, refreshing, positive person to talk to, even in difficult times. I mean, you still seem to maintain a positive outlook on things. One thing that changed of direction a little bit, you guys performed a song for a show called Suits, which is for Meghan Markle, speaking of politics and, of course, the royal family. American princess now in England, which we're all proud and thrilled here.
Yeah.
And I know it's history in England. But how did you get on Meghan Markle's show?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I don't really know.
She must be a fan.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I mean, all I know is that if that was her last show, then the royal family would probably listen to my band, which is pretty cool.
Have you met anybody in the royal family?
I have not. No, I'm not that regal. No, I just think people listened to it, thought it'd be a really good fit, you know, and I think that's a really beautiful song. I'm really proud of that song. It's a song called Fickle Game. Yeah, it's just some of the things that just turn up, these cool opportunities that you just don't realize that you're going to get to do, and they just happen, and then you get kind of like messages and texts off friends and family, and they're like, oh my, what you do is a real thing. You're not just kind of unemployed and in a band. You're like, yeah, I promise. You know?
You can pay your bills with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's great. Well, you know, it's been a thrill to have you in the studios, and I know that your music is, you know, not only in the EPs and the albums and the album to come, you've been on other TV shows as well and other popular shows, and so we're happy you're here in America for the first time, and hopefully you're back again very soon. We would love to invite you and the whole band, Amber Run, to our studios.
They would, you know, they would all love to come back here. This has been a real pleasure, and you know, every so often you get the kind of small, you've got to take the victories when they come, and you know, this is our first US TV appearance.
Really?
Oh, wow. And radio appearance, #1.
Wow.
So
thank you
so much for having us. It's just been
a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a privilege.
And you got one more song for us.
Yeah,
before we
do.
let you go.
I am going to play my favorite of the second record is a song called No Answers, and we don't really play it acoustically ever because it's quite, you know,
Except
except this
today.
time. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
What's it called?
It's a song called No Answers.
No Answers. Great.
And I saw you, and I knew you, 'cause you still smiling the same way. And I found you, and I called you, and through the crackle of the phone, I heard you say, oh, that I got no answers. Oh, that I got no answers. Oh, that I've got no answers for you. But that I want you still, like I always think that I will. But I've got no answers for you. For you, for you, for you. And I know you, but I don't want to. 'Cause people like you, you never change. And I forgive you, but I can't forget you. Because the things you said, they're etched inside my brain. You said I got no answers. Oh, that I got no answers. Oh, that I've got no answers for you. But that I want you still, like I always think that I will. But I've got no answers for you. For you, I'll find someone new, then we'll shrug off our armor. I'll get what I want, well then I'll leave you. And I'll be the shadow that you see at night. All the shredded doubt in the back of your mind, a talking head, a silhouette. I'll be your old romancer, your forgotten partner, and still I'll have no answers for you. But I've got no answers for you.
Awesome. Sounding awesome. Josh Keogh from Amber's Run. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks
so
so much for having
the
us.
album is called The Assembly. So people want to get it, they can get it on Amazon, iTunes, all the standard place.
Yeah.
But how about your website? Is it available there?
It will be available there. It's amber-run.com. Yeah, you can find all the tour dates and you can find videos and yeah, check it out. I quite like it. It's all about me and my mates.
And I'm sure you're active on social media and all the fans who can write to you directly. And
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been such a pleasure since we got to the States. We've had so many people get in touch and so many people come out of the woodwork and just and be really beautiful and say really lovely things about our band and buy tickets and turn up. So yeah, such a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we get to meet a few more people.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Welcome to America, and thank you for doing this. Welcome to the Voice of America. So thank you, Josh.
Not a problem.
Amber Run and The Assembly is the name of the new EP. My name is Larry London, and you're watching Border Crossings.